Good morning, Sasha, Braden, anyone else who happens to be listening. This one is actually for both you, Sasha and Braden. So I want to start with a quiet time and end with an application. So I'm finishing up Second Samuel, I believe it's chapter 23, and there's a first part that kind of talks about David's last words, and he's very positive and very thankful of God. And then there's this sort of long kind of tribute to David's mighty men, and it's some really interesting stuff in there about the fighting people that killed thousands and hundreds, and David wanted a drink of water, and some of them fought their way all the way through the Philistines just to get a drink of water for them. And one of the things that's kind of fascinating to think about, I think, is what kind of leader inspires that in their soldiers, right? So these were all men who followed David and were kind of an elite fighting force that were inspired by him. And you kind of gives you a little bit of a window as to what kind of leader, what kind of warrior David was. And especially if you track all the way back to First Samuel, I believe it's around chapter 11, when David is fleeing from Saul and he's in the wilderness, and people are kind of coming to him, and he's kind of building up his sort of band of followers. And the description there is that they were distressed, they were in debt. I'm not sure what else, like distraught. I mean, just like harassed and helpless, and those were the people that David drew. So, not the cool kids, not your first round draft picks, but if you fast forward to what they became the most elite fighting soldiers in all of David's army. And I remember having a discussion with one of the navigator reps, one of the studies that we were in, where he told me what he was really searching for was kind of the cool kid, like one or two kids that were kind of cool, that were like popular, that would be able to really attract people to the Bible study. And I remember I really had a problem with that. And he and I did not see eye to eye on this, because I felt like, what's really biblical is we don't, while we may hope and pray for the cool kids or the people that are going to really help, grow our Bible study because people just want to hang around them, we can certainly pray for that, but that's not who God uses. So many times I think we see God use the harassed, the helpless, right, the distraught, the people that are not your first round draft picks, that God does a work in their life, and they are so transformed that they become that person, that mighty man of God or that mighty man of David, right? And I think it's that process of really going through trials and tribulations and growth that really helps people. So what's the application here, right? The application is start with who you have. If you have a Bible study, or you're involved in a Bible study, or you're leading a Bible study, right? Look around to who's in there and who can you help now. Like, it may be at some point there may be 4 or 5, 6 people that want to get time with you, and they want to grow, and they want to ask you questions, and you just might not have time for them. But usually when you're starting out, that's not the problem. The problem is maybe we're waiting for the cool kid or whatever, and God's got someone right in front of us who we can help, and that we should help, and that God wants us to help. And so I just want to encourage both of you, look around, either Sasha at ROTC, or eventually in your career, or at acro tumbling, who is someone that you can reach out to, and maybe as iron sharpens iron, you guys can grow together. Maybe you can encourage them, they can encourage you. And Braden, I would ask you the same question, in the environments that you're in, whether it be, I know you don't really have a great church group, but your kind of group of friends from church, or even people at your work, who is the 1 or 2 people that you can really kind of double down on and work with. And even though they might not be your, the popular kid or the first round draft pick, they are someone God has put in your life that you can invest in, and you can help them grow. Anyway, hope that helps. Hope that encourages you. Love you guys.